Greetings. Greetings, everyone. I'm Angelo Robles. And if you're watching this, and I will explain really these live on Sunday, it is late Sunday morning, and I'm going to do something I've never done before. And I'm going to be giving away a lot of content. Of course, I've done that before, but never of this length, broken out into four different segments live over the course of today. And I don't know, other than my members, I may end up taking it down from my LinkedIn and my YouTube after 1 or 2 days to make it exclusive. I'm calling this the complete, and it is pretty complete, the complete four-part AI Family Office Transformation Series. And whether you're a single family office, a multi-family office, an RIA, an advisor, someone who services families of wealth, a direct family member, it really applies to practically everyone, including those legal, accounting, finance, etc., that serves the family office community, not just internally from your own perspective, but the work that you do with incredible families that could give you really an insurmountable edge. So, how I'm going to do these, they're each going to be ballpark about 45 minutes long. So, I'm doing a lot of content today. I'm going to make a streamer proud, although they could do sometimes 24-hour content. I'm going to do the first segment now. I'm going to take a 15 or 20-minute break. Let me get a cup of tea and come back for segment two. Once we finish, my American watchers would know this, mainly football today at 7 p.m. Eastern. I will come back and knock off segments 3 and 4. Segments 3 and 4, no one in my community has ever covered before. They are game changing, but getting the foundation of what I'm going to outline and give a hint of what's coming, especially after segment 2. So, hey, I admit it, I'm a big American football fan. It is 11:16 Eastern time now. I want to finish segment 1, a little break, segment 2, and be ready to watch the 1 o'clock Eastern games. It's bad enough I had to suffer so much with Oklahoma, the great Boomer Sooners, losing yesterday. So, on that note, since this is a long series, and again, I really don't know how long I'm going to have these up, except for my members, and they get a special, very comprehensive write up, effectively a mini ebook on this. But on that note, without further ado, let's do it. So, before we begin, what you're really about to discover in 4 segments, well over 2 hours of content, I'm going to show you something that will fundamentally, I promise you, change how you think about your family office's future, and if you service the community and really are in the services business working with ultra high net worth people, you're all impacted. Over the last 18 months, I've been called in by family offices, mainly SFOs, but some MFOs, some celebrating AI successes, and many others in crisis, honestly, after massive failures. A couple, 6 or 7, figured it out. Most had not. Many of them collectively wasting, I think I tallied it at about what I could argue is 73 million. I analyzed what separated them, my experiences, what I do, the master classes that I teach, and lessons learned. I document everything, the successes and the failures, the mistakes, and the precise strategies, sometimes thanks to my programming and consulting, that worked and helped them be successful. The competitive advantages being built right now are creating permanent market dominance. And I'm about to share it all with you. Actually, if you're a multifamily office or looking to become one, I could I could take what you're doing to another level, honestly, in a couple of days. But let's continue. Here's what's coming in this 4-part series. What your competitors built while you were debating, the 4-part expose, we could call it, The complete AI family office transformation series. Video 1, which is what you'll hear in about 5 more minutes, live, by the way, if you're here on this Sunday morning. What I kind of call the nuclear truth, the cognitive revolution that's already separating the winners from the losers. Going back to direct deals and deal flow, while you're analyzing maybe 150 opportunities annually, a competitor maybe smaller than you could do more comprehensive analysis, analyzing thousands, maybe 5,000 opportunities. But it's not just about private deals. It's about a transformation across the public markets. I know because I'm mainly a public markets allocator. Tax optimization, geopolitical risk, macro analysis, even family governance. I'll show you the exact mathematics why 168 hours operationally destroys 40 hours. That's kind of pretty obvious, but we'll get to it. Why 25 to 50x, maybe more productivity multiplication is happening right now, let alone 6 months from now. And every day you wait, the gap gets wider. Video 2, the IP catastrophe. You are bleeding IP. I'll talk about the $7 million mistake that 90% of family offices are making at this very moment. And this will come up before football starts at 1. That'll be segment 2. They're bleeding IP intellectual property with every cloud AI inquiry. They're surrendering their competitive advantage. Some of them, maybe you as an individual, spent decades building. One family lost 6.9 million because they didn't understand AI security. Another paid 2.3 million to escape effectively what I may define as vendor lock-in. I'll reveal 3 layers of sovereign AI that protect your IP while delivering superior performance. And I'm living through this. I don't just study it and talk about it. I'm going through it. And why families building this now, again, have permanent advantages. Now, tonight, live, and I don't know how long I'm going to let these stay up. This, we'll see. But video 3, the 24/7 empire. The infrastructure convergence that no one understands and why it creates unfair advantages. AI agents plus stable coins equals 24/7 autonomous operations, mainly investment operations. While you sleep, your competitors are capturing opportunities in Asian markets all around the world, executing trades in seconds and operating across every time zone at the same time. Now, here's the important part. I'm going to break down, Trump's Genius Act, the Market Structure Act, and why this isn't just about crypto. It's about the complete re-architecture of how value moves through the global economy. The temporal arbitrage play. The 600 billion, to listen to this, 60 trillion tokenization unlock, and it's all approved. The velocity advantage that compounds daily. And you've never heard anyone in the family office ever talk about that. I've hinted at it. The last one, which will be alive tonight, video 4, segment 4, the 10% who dominate. The 7 deadly mistakes, I'm going to share it, causing 85% of failure and what successful families effectively are doing differently. Real examples, real numbers. The $1.8 million AI system, nobody used. The 1.4 million spent on what I call sovereign theater. The consultant report that cost, I don't know, what you decabillionaire family office, you use McKinsey, that cost what, 900,000, and of course delivered zero value. I'll show you the pattern that predicts success, maybe with about 90% accuracy. The one decision, God, I got a lot to share tonight. The one decision that separates families who dominate from families who fail. And a little bit of a 12-month roadmap from decision to permanent competitive advantage. You're getting a little bit of insight into my AI masterclass with this multiple hours, but it's not the same because you're not there in person, you're not interacting, and the amazing faculty that I get to help make it come to life. Now, I need to be very direct with you. This series, this 4-part series, isn't for everyone. If you're looking for reassurance that AI is interesting, but you can wait, well, you won't find that here. If you want to believe your peers, your competitors aren't that far ahead, well, I'm going to shatter your illusion. Shatter your illusion of love. Huh. I wonder who's saying that. If you're hoping for gentle advice about exploring AI when you're ready, then no, like I want you to take violent action. You need to be immediate. This is for family offices and many more than just that. Like I said when I started, who recognize that right now, this quarter, this month is the moment that determines your competitive position, the value to your family, your heirs, your rising generation, your business for the next decade. The families watching this series will fall into two camps. Category one, those who may watch it, understand the urgency, and move decisively. These families will implement at least a part of what I'm showing. Even if they do it with some of my guidance over several months, they'll be in the 10% who dominate. But most of you, the reality will be in category two. You may watch it, you may find it interesting, and you'll probably do nothing. These people, families, companies spend the next 5 years wondering how the gap got so wide. Oh my God, Angelo might have been right, but I thought his timeline was off. It'd be 10, 20 years. It's right now. Which category are you going to be in? The answer starts now. A quick note on what you're about to see. And again, I like to do these live. They're imperfect. I talk imperfect. I'm a little rough around the edges, and there's no editing. Everything I'm sharing is based on real masterclasses, mainly consulting engagements with real families and real money. The numbers are real, the failures are real, the successes are also real. I'm not selling you on AI as a concept. I'm showing you what's happening right now at among the most sophisticated families as I travel the world in the Middle East and Europe, LATAM and North America, Asia right now. And I'm revealing why most families, even attempting this transformation, I'm not going to quite say without me, there's a couple of others that may be decent, but many will fail. And how you can be in the small percentage who will succeed. By the end of the series, you'll know exactly what competitive advantages are being built, the precise mistakes that cost families millions, the convergence between AI and financial infrastructure that creates 24/7 operational capability, hinted at all that earlier, the implementation roadmap that takes you from decision to dominance in 12 months. And you'll face a choice, you always do. Move now with clarity and urgency, or watch from the sidelines. The comfortable approach, that ego, ignorance, and fear are your greatest threat. One more thing. At the end of the series, maybe at the end of every segment, I'm going to tell you about it's the AI Family Office Masterclass, but it really is the AI Masterclass. Whether you're an SFO, an MFO, a high net worth individual, accountant, attorney, entrepreneur, it absolutely will change your life and is applicable to you. This November 5th and 6th in New York City. Only 10 family units, entrepreneurs, if you want to call it that, over 2 days, and really kind of a complete, as much as we could in 2 days, kind of implementation playbook. Several spots, about 4 remain. After you watch what's coming, you'll understand exactly why those families who show up will dominate in the next decade, and why those who don't will spend it playing catch up, and likely there'll come a point when it just may be too late. But first, I admit you do need to see the full picture. So let's start with the nuclear truth that your competitors, your peers don't want you to know. And again, trust me, I will complete the segment 1 and 2 before American football, because I want to watch it too, starts at 1 p.m. But today, with segments 1, 2, and tonight after 7 p.m., 3 and 4, live, and I don't know how long I'm going to leave them up, you have a chance to really understand the big picture. So kind of the segment one, as I hinted at earlier, what your competitors built while you were debating, kind of a 4-part expose, all coming live today, the complete AI family office transformation series. So here's what's really happening right now. While you're debating, again, whether AI might be useful someday, your sophisticated peers, competitors, they just aren't debating anymore. They're not even in the same conversation. It feels like they're operating in effectively some kind of parallel universe. Like, how about a universe where investment decisions execute in minutes, and like something that I said yesterday, one of my new catchphrases, in minutes, not in meetings, where geopolitical threats are neutralized before they become, who knows, depending on the scale of the family, $1 million, $10 million, $200 million, $1 billion in losses, where tax optimization strategies adapt in real time to regulatory changes across dozens of different global jurisdictions, depending on the complexity of the family, where opportunities are captured in days, maybe a month, whatever, before public markets even notice. They have AI workforces. Here's the important part. AI agents select apps they build or fintech solutions they API and tie into, operating 24/7, 365. While humans, including myself, we're humans, we're biological creatures. We need to rest, to sleep, to eat, to take vacations, and sometimes, except for me, of course, call in sick. They have intelligence networks that never leak family secrets, if you know how to do it right, and never get tired. Never make an emotional decision, never miss a Fed statement, a sanctions announcement, or a regulatory filing. And here's the part that should terrify you. The gap between their capabilities and yours, it's closing. It's not closing. What am I talking about? It's accelerating. Every single day you wait is another day they're compounding their advantage into permanent market dominance. And there's something even more critical happening. There's something more critical happening that almost no one is talking about. While these families are building sovereign AI native operations, I'm going to show that's not that hard. I'm doing it. They're doing it across every dimension of their operations, not just investments. We're talking about a total transformation. So kind of what I define, and I'm looking at some broad show notes to make sure I somewhat stay on track. The cognitive revolution, expanded scope. Now, I know what you're thinking. AI is just another tool. Angelo, we'll get it eventually. Maybe we'll use it to scream some deals. No, that's not what it is, and not maximizing its potential, not even close. AI doesn't just make you a little better at one thing. AI fundamentally transforms what's possible across your entire operation. We're talking about productivity enhancements. Some of it may be 2x, and that's incredible. Other aspects of it may be 10, 20, 100x or more across virtually every knowledge, key point, based activity in your family office. And I mean every activity. Now, it helps if I could give you some concrete examples across different domains, because this is where most people completely underestimate what is happening. Remember, Mark Andreessen, AI is underhyped. The CEO of Google, it's as impactful as fire and electricity. You watch the right podcast, you hear Elon Musk and others, you hear Jensen Huang of NVIDIA. Look at what's happening. You have to wake up. You're not hearing this from other people in the world of finance and family offices. I know that. Partially, they're too old, although I'm probably older than most of them. They don't adapt, they don't iterate, they're not going through it, and they're not living through it and making the mistakes and taking actions. So, public markets. Your traditional analyst monitors maybe what? 50 to 100 stocks. They read analyst reports, sure, listen to earnings calls, maybe scan some news, and they track a couple of positions deeply. Now, with AI amplification, I'm not saying elimination, amplification. That same analyst is monitoring thousands of stocks simultaneously. AI is reading every earnings call transcript, every. As it's published, it's analyzing sentiment, that's important, across 40,000 news sources in real time. It's tracking, I mean, kind of, depending on how you set it up, insider trading patterns, institutional position changes, supply chain signals from shipping data, satellite imagery of parking lots. That's how good this is. Credit card transaction trends. All this stuff is real. It's not the future. Your AI doesn't just tell you Apple had good earnings. It tells you Apple's iPhone 17 component orders from what? TSMC increased 23% the last 14 days, contradicting their conservative guidance. Historical pattern analysts show this precedes earnings beats by maybe what, an average of 8.3%. Let's go with that. Simultaneously, their top tier engineering job posting increased 34% in AR and VR categories, suggesting accelerated product development. Probability of significant position opportunity, it'll shoot at 87%. That's not just better analysis, that's a different category of intelligence entirely. Machines plus the right humans. Powerful combination. Tax optimization. Your traditional tax team meets quarterly. They review structures annually. They might catch new regulations in 2 or 3 months after implementation. You're always, it feels like playing catch up. With AI, you have systems monitoring tax law changes across multiple jurisdictions operating in real time. The moment Ireland adjusts their corporate tax treatment, your AI has already modeled the impact on, boy, I'm talking like you're a real monster family here, but you don't know. There's 100 like super, well, multi-decamillionaire families, and I'm lucky to have some incredible relationships. But in my example, modeled across 17 Irish subsidiaries, generated 3 restructure scenarios. When the IRS releases new guidance on cryptocurrency taxation, buried, of course, in page 247 of a document released at 4:47 p.m. Eastern Time on Friday, your AI has read it, understood it, cross-referenced it with your family's digital asset holdings, flagged the 3 positions that need immediate attention before your tax advisor even knows the document exists. But here's where it gets real powerful. Like, is this making an impact on you? Your AI isn't just tracking regulations, it's modeling second and third order effects. That's huge, huge. When the UE announces new transfer pricing rules, boy, that's boring stuff. But hey, I got to bring that up. Your AI is simultaneously calculating the impact on your Luxembourg, I am a fan of Luxembourg, holding company, your Swiss operating entities, your US beneficiaries. And it's wargaming how competitor families might structure in response, potentially creating arbitrage opportunities that can be exploited. It isn't just tax compliance, it's tax strategy operating at machine speed. You could be a 2 or 3 person family office anywhere in the world and have amazing resources that $100 billion bureaucratic family office doesn't have. Not a year from now, right now. Geopolitical, among my favorites. Risk intelligence. Your traditional analyst may read the news, subscribes to some intelligence briefings, like all things I do, attend a few conferences. They're synthesizing information, including me, who loves that subject, from 20 or 30 sources. And by the time they brief you, the situation, well, it's evolved. With AI amplification, you have systems monitoring 10,000 plus sources, of course, 93 countries, 47 different languages, continuously, news feeds, regulatory filings, parliamentary proceedings, central bank communications, trade data, Diplomatic cables, social media sentiment, important satellite imagery, as I mentioned earlier. When Russia makes a subtle shift in energy policy, your AI isn't flagging it, it's automatically calculating the cascading effects. As a human, I can't keep up with that. It's impossible. The impact on European natural gas prices, implication to your energy investments, effects on currency markets, potential sanctions exposure across your portfolio companies, risk to your Eastern European real estate holdings. I could go on and on. A real example in early 2022, before the Ukraine invasion, certain AI systems were tracking already. That was a different era. It's like 3 years ago. But it feels that way. And what has changed? Tracking things like troop movement, blood supply stockpiling, fuel depot positioning, and changes in diplomatic language patterns. Families with sophisticated, much rarer back then, AI system had several weeks of advance warning that something significant was coming and restructured their positions accordingly. The families without those systems, well, what? They watched it on CNN. Not a good thing. The day it happened, after the market had already moved. That's the difference that we're talking about. If anything, your intimate size, maybe small-ish as an RIA and MFO, legal accounting, family office, entrepreneurial family, you have these resources that may give you a massive edge without bureaucracy to move fast. This is kind of the difference that we're talking about. It's not just better information, it's earlier information, actionable information, while others are still trying to understand what happened. Another one of my favorite subjects, macroeconomic intelligence. Your traditional economist, oh boy, we could go on that one. Reads Fed Minute, sure. Tracks employment reports. I do too. Looks at GDP data. They're synthesizing maybe 50 to 100 data points. It's being very generous. And they're doing it after the data is released. Now, that's the key point. With AI, you're tracking thousands of economic indicators in real time, not just the headline numbers that everyone else sees, but the obscure data that absolutely for sure through certain patterns predicts actually or can what's coming. So your AI is monitoring shipping container rates from Shanghai to Long Beach, copper future curves in London, credit default swap spreads in peripheral European debt, repo market dynamics, that's important, and cross-currency basis swaps, electricity consumption patterns in Chinese manufacturing provenances, truck tonnage indices, rail car loadings, building permit data in whatever, 800 municipalities. All this is real right now. It's not just tracking these independently, it's finding the non-obvious correlations and gets better as you build these systems internally and don't train on your proprietary data, which I'll talk a little bit more in some upcoming segments, and for sure, how to do that, literally do that in my AI masterclass. So the patterns that human economists miss because they can't process the complexity, we're human, like no one could. When your AI notices that Chinese copper stockpiles are declining while Brazilian iron ore shipments to China are accelerating, while simultaneously South Korean semiconductor equipment orders are softening. It's painting a picture of what's happening in global manufacturing cycles, 90 days, maybe not that much, but something like that, before it shows up in the official economic data. The families with this advanced intelligence, they're repositioning, at least hedging their portfolios before the macro shift becomes so obvious. They're making money on the transition, at least saving money on a downward transition, if y'all want to call it that. Well, everyone else is reacting effectively behind the times to the last quarter's news. Now, we could talk about risk management and stress testing. Your traditional team risk management runs quarterly stress tests using, assuming they even do this, 5 or 10 scenarios? A market crash, interest rate spike, the usual suspects. Static models based on historical correlations. With AI, you could run thousands of different stress scenarios at the same time, and not just the obvious ones, the weird ones, the nonlinear ones, the cascading failure scenarios that only appear when six things seemingly unrelated things happen at the same time. Hey, it could happen. So, like AI modeling, what happens if Japan loses control of the yield curve control while simultaneously Nvidia announces an AI chip breakthrough that obsoletes kind of current data center infrastructure while, you know, the UAW, a strike expands to semiconductor plants while the Fed pivots more hawkish. Most families would never think to model that scenario. It probably shouldn't. But AI could do that easily depending on how you structure it. And it's at least important to have that and the odds of that happening. Because even if minor, the impact on the portfolio is not minor. And that's what matters. But if you're invested heavily, we're going back to the example here, heavily invested in cloud infrastructure and Japanese government bonds and US manufacturing, that exact combination could be catastrophic to you. And if you're an executive, you want to lose your job over something like this, get a bad reputation, not get a bonus, you want to be excellent. That's why AI can make you more awesome. AI doesn't get tired of running weird scenarios. It doesn't think that, well, that'll never happen. It calculates probability weighted exposures across kind of millions of potential futures and tells you, here are the 12 combination events that could create 8-figure losses in the portfolio. With current probability ranges, like I said a little while ago, maybe 0.3 to 4.7. Here are the hedges that protect you across 9 of those 12 scenarios without sacrificing more than 40 basis points of expected return. Like, is that risk management or is that really risk like omniscience? It's incredible. And don't think that family governance and succession is not touched. It absolutely is. So family governance. Here's one most people don't think about, but it might be the most valuable application of all. Your family has 23 members across 4 generations, different interests, different values, different levels of financial sophistication for sure. You spend half your family meetings rehashing kind of the same arguments. The Gen 3 members don't understand why you're not investing in crypto. The Gen 1 patriarch doesn't trust private equity. Gen 2s are fighting about ESG versus returns. The traditional approach is to hire family counselors. They like that. It keeps them employed. Hold more meetings. Hope everyone eventually aligns. That alone takes, I was going to say months, but am I talking about years? And at best 50-50 for failure. With AI, you can model governance scenarios before the meetings ever happen. Your AI analyzes every family member's stated preference, investment history, risk tolerance, communication patterns, that's big, and likely concerns. Before the quarterly family meeting where you're proposing maybe a $50 million allocation to a new strategy, AI generates personalized briefing materials for each family member, calibrating to their level of financial knowledge and areas of concern, predicting objections from specific family members with suggested responses, alternative structures that might achieve 80% of the objective while addressing 90% of the concerns. And if you don't think that governance in terms of how decisions are made and family mission and vision statements, constitution, could be better impacted, better structured, better follow through with AI, you're delusional. It's not just the examples that I'm giving here. Communication strategies for, let's get back to the example for the 3 family members that are most likely to be skeptical. But here's where it gets powerful. Like, in the succession planning, your AI can model what happens to family wealth across different scenarios if leadership transitions to the eldest G3 versus leadership or co-leadership structures versus an external CEO with family board oversight. It can project how different governance structures affect decision velocity for sure, risk tolerance, family harmony, and ultimate wealth outcomes trying to over decades. The families using AI for governance and communicating, they're making better decisions faster. And that's basically what AI does. You could do more, better, and faster, period. They're making better decisions faster with less conflict. The families without it, it feels like they're having the same argument for decades. The mathematics are effectively inescapable. Let me bring this kind of all together with mathematics that simply are just hard to ignore. A traditional family office, I mean, really any company, but again, family office operates maybe 40 to 50 hours per week per team member. Makes sense. You have maybe, I don't know, 3, 5, 15 knowledge workers in total. That's 10 to 30,000 hours of human cognitive capacity annually. Listen up. With AI amplification, you have the equivalent of 500 to 1,500 additional analyst or other working hours because it's 24/7, 365. That's 4.4 million to 13 million hours of additional analytical capacity annually. That is why you're not just 2x, which would be impressive, more capable. You're 150 to 400x more capable. It isn't just about quantity. It's about seeing things that humans literally cannot see because we sometimes can't process or that quickly the complexity. It's about acting on information while still actionable, not after everyone else knows about it. It's operating in multiple time zones, multiple languages, multiple asset classes, multiple risk domains simultaneously without ever getting tired, emotional, or distracted. There are absolutely two futures for everyone watching this. And let me paint those pictures for you and be very clear about it. Future one. Traditional human-only operations. Using some of the math I referenced earlier. Your team generously has 12 knowledge workers, analyzes 150 investment opportunities annually, monitors 80 public positions, reviews tax structures quarterly, reads geopolitical briefings weekly, runs risk models monthly, holds family governance meetings quarterly, operates again 40 hours per week, missing 128 hours weekly of global market activity. Let that sink in. Has inconsistent frameworks because all humans, even smart ones, are inconsistent. Makes decisions clouded with cognitive bias. I do. Emotional attachments and personal agendas. Misses 90% of regulatory changes until maybe they're already implemented. Reacts to macroeconomic shifts weeks after sophisticated players have already repositioned. And lives with a constant nagging fear that they're missing the opportunity, the risk, the trend that defines the next decade. Sadly, and not necessarily because of their fault, limited resources and they're human, not working 24 hours a day. That nagging fear because they probably are missing those opportunities. But there is a future too, which is what I say is especially sovereign, self-contained AI systems amplifying operations, I'm not saying get rid of your team of the 12 knowledge workers. Have them learn to work with in coordination with AI for cognitive amplification. Now they're analyzing 5,000 investment opportunities with a systematic, repeatable framework, monitoring thousands of public positions with real time sentiment and signal analysis, updating tax optimization strategies across all jurisdictions, tracking what 10,000 geopolitical data sources continuously in 47 languages, running thousands of risk scenarios daily with real time portfolio impact analysis, providing family governance with predictive modeling and personalized communication strategies. Operating, it's just the math, 168 hours per week across all global markets and time zones, delivering emotion free, bias free, we hope, systematic analysis, identifying regulatory changes within hours, maybe sooner. I'm going to push it out to hours of publication. Positions ahead of macroeconomic shifts based on leading indicators invisible to traditional analysis. And has mathematical certainty that you're seeing every opportunity, every risk, every signal that matches your criteria. Not most of them, not even the obvious ones, but effectively every single one. I hope you're enjoying this segment one. I know it's probably running a pinch longer than I thought. Soon I'm going to take a break and come live for segment two. My hope of being ready to watch American football at 1 NFL, 1 p.m. Eastern is going to be a little stretched. If I miss the first couple of minutes of the Giants game, I'll get by. I really want to share information that no one is sharing and how it's just so obvious to me how this will be incredibly impactful to you. So there is an urgent message. You need to understand something critical, that none of this is just coming. It's never going to be worse than it is today, but it's already here. This is operational. This is happening right now in the most sophisticated entrepreneurs, multi and single family offices, legal accounting firms, those providing value to the community. Think about yourself and your children, what the future is going to be. The gap is widening every day. Every day you wait, your competitors are building. Some of them are, and I'm the one who's helping them, building proprietary data sets you can't access, developing AI models that are going to be fine-tuned to their strategies, capturing opportunities you may never see, building moats around competitive advantages that become permanent. You need to adapt in this new world. I did. Now, not the next quarter, not when you get around to it. That's not good enough. Not after the annual planning retreat or after 12/31 or a New Year's resolution. You're probably too slow. 99% of people are. You need to take more positive and direct action. I use the word violent action. I learned that from an Alex Hermosi quote. He's 100% correct. So back to my AI masterclass. Kind of here's what's going to happen over the next 18 months. About 10% of family offices will significantly implement AI across their operations and become somewhat untouchable. Their return should accelerate. Their risk management will definitely be superior. Their operational efficiency will be dramatically higher. And they will compound. That's the part where you're going to get crushed by being too slow. They will compound these advantages year after year. You're going to make a decision as a family office, whether a single or a multifamily office, whether you're going to be part of that 10% or not. Now, there will be another 20%, I'll give you that will implement AI partially, a tool here, a system there, and they'll see some level of incremental improvements. They'll probably survive, but they won't dominate. What I think will happen to the other 70%, they'll still be debating what I started off on, whether AI is ready for prime time. while they become slowly irrelevant. Their returns will lag, their risk exposures will accumulate, they'll lose market share. If they're an executive, they might even lose a job. Their best people that are great will leave for families and other enterprises, entrepreneurs that give them the tools they need. And they will wonder, what happened? So here's my question for you. Which category are you going to be in? You need to make this decision now, because I'm going to tell you something that nobody else is really saying out loud. Honestly, that decision window is closing quickly. I'm going to go back to this November 5th and 6th, likely my last AI masterclass of the year, in person and immersive in New York City. It's not just me, it's an incredible faculty of incredible AI leaders and thought leaders, incredible families that have already signed up. They know they need to be among those 10%, not theory, not possibilities, not wouldn't it be nice, but learning specific AI models that work best for kind of the family office function, the exact implementation frameworks used by families operating 2x, 10x, 50x, 100x or more. Building very important sovereign AI systems so you're not bleeding IP in the cloud, which is absolutely what you're doing now. It's embarrassing. And it's a relatively easy fix. The real world case studies from families that already had, two of them are going to be presenters, two real family offices, both with lineage of bloodline from the family, one the wealth creator, one second generation, both incredible, are going to share that massive advantage they got 12 to 24 months ago. We're going to talk about the biggest mistakes that cause 90% of kind of the weak AI implementations to fail and how to avoid them. And what we'll talk more about, I'll hint at it in segment 2 shortly, but more segments 3 and 4 that no one is talking about. The convergence between AI agents, and the new financial infrastructure that's about to create the biggest wealth opportunity, wealth transfer opportunity of your lifetime. It's not even close. Now, here's what you need to understand. This is not a conference. I'm not looking for 40 to 50 people in the room. If even all my members wanted to be a part of it, I just don't have the capacity. I'm taking in 10 families. I'm allowing them to bring a second person. We have a couple of spots left. It's an intimate boardroom. It's not a conference. It isn't me on stage talking for 2 days. That really would be boring. This is an intensive workshop where you're going to architect an AI implementation strategy and see real development of vibe coding, AI agents, integration, and sovereign AI. This is meant for small groups, deep interaction, and kind of customized guidance. And being brutally honest, if you're not serious about implementing it, and yes, this costs money, like don't come. I don't want tire kickers. The price will scare them away anyway. I don't want people who want to learn about AI someday, read my ebook and some of my free content. I want the families who recognize, man, imagine wrapping up this year and having this on the right track. What a huge advantage you're going to have as an SFO executive, even if the family doesn't pay for it, or anyone who's an executive, you should be doing it. If you recognize the urgency, you're ready to move from consideration to implementation. If you want to be in that 10% that I noted, rather than in the 70% in my example that will inevitably in time become obsolete, then you need to be there at my masterclass November 5th and 6th. But before you commit, there's maybe something else to understand that will segue a little bit into my segment 2 coming up live in about 15 or 20 minutes. Something that no one is talking about, but more important perhaps than what I described. So I'm going to talk about in segment 2, kind of the IP nightmare. Right now, 90%, really of all companies, but let's stick to family offices, experimenting with AI are making a catastrophic mistake. They're effectively bleeding their proprietary intellectual capital, their IP, with every query they send to the cloud. They're giving away decades of carefully built competitive advantages, especially as an SFO, without even realizing it. It's not just data leakage, it's dependency, it's about control. Families want control, privacy, and customization. And you're not getting that in the public platforms. Look at Amazon Cloud, AWS. It went down for like 24 hours. There's so much risk that many of you have. So in that next segment, I'm going to reveal exactly what's happening, why it's dangerous, how the smartest families are building AI systems that never expose at least their core strategies to the cloud and never depend on vendors who can change their pricing, their security risk. And like we saw with AWS going down, like this puts like your competitive advantages are absolutely at risk. This single insight, understanding the difference between renting AI, maybe that's the word I'm looking for, renting AI versus owning AI could be worth more than everything else you learn combined. Because productivity multiplication is valuable, but productivity multiplication while protecting your IP and maintaining complete strategic sovereignty, that's really important. That's how generational wealth becomes multi-generational dominance. But we'll get to that. Right now, think about many of the things I just showed you. Public market intelligence operating at 100x human scale, potentially. Tax optimization adapting in real time across dozens of jurisdictions. Geopolitical risk monitoring 10,000 sources in 47 different languages. Macroeconomic analysis tracking thousands of different indicators continuously. Risk management running thousands of scenarios daily. Family governance with predictive modeling and conflict resolution. All things that we dove into in some level of detail. Can you afford not to have these capabilities? Can you afford to operate at human scale while your competitors are operating at AI magnified with human scale? And yes, if that question makes you uncomfortable, including for your financial future, your employment, well, good, because it should. The families who answer no, I cannot afford to fall behind, who show up to my masterclass, who join, participate, and pay November 5th and 6th in New York City are going to be the ones who dominate. Now, they got to take actions, sure, but are going to dominate the next decade. The families still considering, still debating, still waiting, who we'll read about them in case studies like what went wrong, how great family offices lost their edge. That's going to be something in a year or two that I'm probably going to do a program on because it's going to be so true. Just like don't be that case study. And MFOs, this might even apply more to you. Yet you rely on your traditional intellectual sources, the same old way of thinking and not understanding any of this at all. And I could change all of that for you. Now, again, in segment 2, I'm going to take about a 15-minute break. I'm going to come back and do segment 2 live today at about 12:25, give or take a little bit Eastern time. Then let me watch some football, please. And then I'm going to wrap up on my 3 and 4 segments sometime after 7 o'clock tonight. And again, I'll probably take a 15-20-minute break between them. This is like when I was teaching my digital master classes a year and a half, 2 years ago. Just take a little bit of energy out of me. And I'm a pretty high energy person. So I'm going to have a little creatine, maybe a protein shake, a cup of tea. I'm going to come back. I'm going to rock it on the segment 2. Now, a couple of other quick comments, because again, all of this is going to be live today. And then, sure, I'll leave it up for a little at least on my LinkedIn, on my YouTube. My members will get the unlisted version, so it's always going to be there. I'm not going to pull it. And they're going to get a transcript plus something more dedicated. And they get other favorable opportunities at the masterclass and my one-on-one time effectively with me. Now, there's a relatively minor point, but I do want to bring it up. About a month ago, I don't know, I started to have an issue getting a little technical now with my SSL on my underlying site hosted at Kajabi, and Cloudflare is kind of a security provider. Some of you were not even being able to open up and view my website, angelorobles.com. We have that about 90 to 95% corrected. Some of you from behind a corporate firewall, and we submitted lots of things to Cisco, so I think by early midweek, we'll be good, may not be able to pull it up and may say something like, whatever, a bad site or it can't pull it up. From your cell phone, it should almost always work. So pardon me for the inconvenience. This is probably only affecting now, because I fixed some things yesterday, probably 3 to 7% of you, actually, including in my backyard where I'm currently at, using Optimum here in Greater Connecticut and into Westchester County. So pardon me if that's the case, but in theory, for most of you, angelorobles.com should work just fine. It's an awesome site. You'll learn about the AI masterclass. Some of my verbiage is a little outdated, but effectively, you'll see it, you could sign up, and boom, just join right there. And that's what multiple people did in the last week without even talking to me. They took the leap of faith. Hey, we know about you. You're saying great things in AI. You seem to be a thought leader and way ahead of the curve. We're just, boom, just signing up. So if there's any issue reaching me, simply email me at angelo@angelorobles.com. Again, angelo@angelorobles.com. The website is angelorobles.com, which should work for the majority of you. And I always encourage multiple people every week reach out to me, because I note my real number that you could text me and ask me any question, including about the masterclass. I could send you a direct link to sign up. Super easy. 203-570-2898. 203-570-2898. Okay. We are 12:11 p.m. ET, Eastern to be exact. I'm going to take a 15-minute break. I'm going to come back. We're going to rock it on segment 2. I'm going to miss a little bit of the 1 o'clock kickoff for my beloved New York Giants. It's okay. You guys are worth it. I want to provide value. And then I'll come back later today, a notch after 7 o'clock, maybe closer to 7:30, and reel off segments 3 or 4, which you never heard anyone talk about, and how this all ties together, all segments of what I'm going to talk about, especially upcoming this evening. And this is your time to jump in and join my masterclass, join my organization, become a member. The intellectual resources you'll get far exceed what you're going to get at any other family office organization. They may do more flashy events. Maybe my events aren't that flashy. Who cares? I care about quality of content, incredible people, interaction with incredible people, and actionable intellectual ideas in AI, geopolitics, macroeconomics, investing that you can move forward on. And I think pound for pound, I'm dominating in that part of the industry. And especially when it comes to AI, just no competitors relative to that. The early edge will compound, and this is your time. On that note, 15, 17-minute break. At the latest, I'll be back 12:30 Eastern. So keep an eye for that new live coming on, and we'll crush it in segment 2. Looking forward.